Boom. There we go. Mr. Molyneux.
Mr. Antonai. How are thee?
That's right. I'm doing good.
Yeah?
Doing very good. It's nice to be back. Yes, it is. It is. It's nice to be back. Nice to chat with my pal.
But he couldn't make it. So you got me.
That's right. I set it up for you. It's so funny. It's easier for me to arrange to hang out with you every week, who lives across the seas and has different times, than it is for me to get together with some of my friends here. Isn't that crazy?
It's nuts. Look, dude, I'm exactly the same. And I know there's people I should be seeing as well. But if they're watching, which they won't be, none of my friends are into comics. So, fuck them. But basically, I haven't seen anyone in months.
Yeah.
But you know what? We get to do this, and it's fun. So
that's right. And with all the tours you guys got going on with the Comic-Cons now, I'm gonna have to make an appearance in England at some point.
Yeah, right?
So it's gonna happen. Yeah, and then we'll podcast in person. That'll be wild.
Oh, cool. Okay,
that'll be fun.
That would be good. Well, today we're going to talk about the top 10 DC most wanted DC Omnis that we would like to see DC Comics produce. So basically, they've been on a little break, haven't they? A little hiatus from producing DC Omnibus editions. There's like 2, I think, announced for this year, which are the Green Lantern Corps Omnibus.
Yes, which we talked about on our previous most wanted DC. We did it. We made it happen. Thank you,
that was
everybody.
All us. They were listening, making notes. Oh, these guys are onto
What's
something.
Funny,
why don't we also make a movie?
With all the stuff that we listed, that was the one thing that did get announced to be printed, which is really good because it's more than deserving.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't make sense that it hasn't been made yet.
Yeah.
So that was good.
Yeah, it was good. It's really good news. I mean, I've been desperate for that book for ages, and I don't know how many volumes it'll be, but it'll probably be, I think it'll be 2 to 3. I think it would be 3, but we'll see.
Is that really how much there was of that series? I guess so.
It ran alongside Green Lantern.
Currently.
Yeah. So it depends how much of the crossover stuff they include, but there were tons of crossover tie-in stuff that they didn't include in the Jeff Johns Green Lantern Omnis. So
yeah, that's true.
They could put them in here. I think they're going to put stuff like Ion in there as well. It's the Kyle Rayner series.
Did Tomasi and Gleason work on that?
I don't, off the top of my head, I don't know who did work on it. But I believe they're going to include it. So they are trying to fill in the gaps. But then I think there's a Batman Ninja Turtles one that they've announced, and apart from that, there's not been a lot. But apparently, it's gonna come back. The Omni is not dead from DC, so we can expect to see more. So I think now is a good time to
make your wish list.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah. Was it hard for you to? Did you list the same thing, a couple of the same things from the previous one? Do you have brand new stuff?
So admittedly, I did listen to our episode that we did last year. But I even though we ran through some extras at the end, and they could have easily just been, I'll just do 5 of those. I purposely didn't want to do any of those. So this is all new stuff. Okay, one of them isn't new. Okay, 2 of them. Oh, damn it. I've got so many backups though. So there's a lot of stuff that they still haven't produced that they really should.
Yeah, at first I'm like, what is there that I would actually want in an omnibus that I haven't purchased yet? Like, what? And the other tricky thing with DC I was thinking about was, for some of the things that, like a Superman, we've talked about how there aren't many Superman omnibuses. Like, where are they? And I'm sure we'll get into that today with maybe some on our list. But because there were so many tie-ins in regards to just the line, like there were 4 books a month, it's like, how do you map that out? Where do you begin? Where do you stop an era? How much of it do you think people will actually be?
But they've kind of done it
with Batman.
Well, they've done it with Superman. They've done it with Superman on the app. So on the DC Infinite app, there are 3 entries, really long reading lists, reading guides, for Superman for the Triangle years. But they're missing the occasional one shot, and there's none of the crossover issues and la 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 la. So it's not complete. I guess it's up to someone to put a little list together and do a little reading order. So I really want to do a Superman reading. I'm desperate to do a Superman reading order, so that I will be working on that.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Okay, let's get into this list.
Let's do it.
I think I might have 1 or 2 from my last
That's cool.
list, or things from my alternative from the last time. But I'm like, oh man, we listed a lot of pretty good options there. I want to know what we come with today. So
yeah.
Whose turn is it?
You go first. You're more the DC,
Okay.
historically the DC guy than me.
Oh, okay. So I thought this one was one that came to me pretty quick because I just finished reading an associated book with this series, and that's Stormwatch from Warren Ellis. I hope, sorry if that was on your list.
No, but it's interesting.
Okay. Because I know that you're reading Stormwatch, I finished Authority, and we kind of read it in opposite orders and stuff like that. But I was told, you want to read the Authority, which is really good, check Stormwatch out first because it sets the table of everything that kind of takes place in Authority, and you'll appreciate it more, kind of getting to know those characters and where everybody comes from, which is true when you read Stormwatch. I haven't read it in a while, but I do think it's a worthwhile, whether you want to call it a companion, I don't know how they would want to print it, because how many issues were there prior to the Authority being published?
I think it was, I'm trying to remember now, because I only literally just read that Stormwatch, the 2-book hardcover. I can answer this because it's right behind me. Stupid boy.
I'm almost certain it's like 24 issues.
It was 37 to 50, and then there was a preview issue, and then it was an 11-issue series, but there was also a Wildcats Alien one-shot, which probably wouldn't make it into the book. Because
why do you think that is?
Copyright. So Marvel now own Aliens.
Copyrights.
Yeah. So I think if it was still with Dark Horse, they'd probably be okay to do it. Although they didn't do it in these. They left it out of the hardcover, but they did run Wildcats Aliens in the DC Dark Horse Aliens trade paperback. And if anyone's looking to get that, best of luck, because it's pricey now. It's very hard to get hold of.
It's too bad.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, yeah, I would pick the Stormwatch. It would be about, you could probably pack in some bonus material, make it a 30-issue omnibus easily.
Yeah.
And I think there's a market for people who would want it. Now, I don't know if they would do it because of the Warren Ellis thing and some of the controversy that surrounds him, but I think that would be silly because this is an old book that's been around for a long time.
Yeah.
And you've got the Authority on the shelf.
Well, this is just
so why not have...
Not only is it on the shelf, they're re-releasing it. They're re-releasing the Authority soon as trade paperbacks.
Right.
But they're not releasing Stormwatch. Again.
Well, so...
But they're starting to add it to Infinite. So, but right, just in case anyone isn't sure. So basically, the Wildstorm universe was originally with Image Comics, and it was created by Jim Lee and a number of other people. And it kicked off with Wildcats, and then it gradually expanded and included Stormwatch, which is why that universe ended up being called Wildstorm, because of Wildcats and Stormwatch being the two main books. Then you had Deathblow, and you had Gen 13, and a bunch of other ones as well.
Right.
Stormwatch was, I mean, it's what a lot of people call very 90s. It's sort of big pecs, big guns, big boobage. It's a lot of that. It's a certain art style. It's a certain storytelling style. It's more style over substance. Stormwatch,
sure.
They had a big event, a big crossover event, which was something what was it called? It was Fire from somewhere or other. And they basically then got Warren Ellis on to... They kind of rejigged the titles and who was running them. And like Alan Moore jumped on Wildcats as writer, which is like, how have we never seen that? I'm not even an Alan Moore fan, but I'd probably pick that up. and Warren Ellis jumped onto Stormwatch, and he shook it up, and it was I think it was like a large roster for this team, and he basically went, get rid of a lot of these, they're crap. Let's just hone it, and I'm going to add an English person who smokes a lot and is obnoxious, because that's what I do on every single title I write. Pete Wisdom. Just name any title he's been on and he adds in an English character. So that was Jenny Sparks, and he added in Jack Hawksmoor. He added a character called the Engineer who wasn't the other engineer yet. He introduced a doctor who wasn't the doctor from the Authority yet, a different character. And they introduced the Bleed as a concept, which is the like what exists between universes, the space between universes, all this stuff. And then
essential stuff to the Authority.
Essential stuff to the Authority, and then kind of shook it up, and then and when you read Stormwatch as well, he constantly drops in the word Authority, and then it all leads basically to Stormwatch ending and the Authority beginning, and the Authority is going to be made into a film, at least overseen by James Gunn, who's heading up all of DC's film and TV stuff now. And that's why Stormwatch is quite a relevant one to pick up, because the Authority is great and it's fun, like it's dark, nasty fun, but it helps to have read Stormwatch beforehand, or at least his run on Stormwatch, and that's
And I think once people see the movie, if they do it right and adapt it well, because I think there are some difficult things to adapt in today's climate, but it would be really cool to see them just go for it as well. And I think James Gunn has that in him to be like, let's tell a story. Let's be concerned about the story first. We can make silly concepts work if we are true to it and aren't afraid.
Yeah.
And so the Authority is a pretty brave option to go for a movie, which I think is exciting, because you wouldn't have ever thought they would do it, right? With all the things at DC that you can work on, you would think Justice Society, JLA, try another attempt at the Green Lantern, but the Authority is like, that's cool.
It was a jaw dropper.
Very original.
When I saw that, I was very excited, just because it feels right for James Gunn as well. Like, I think if you look at especially the Mark Miller, Frank Quitely issues, that are less political, more traditional heroics, but very violent. So, I mean, if you've seen the Suicide Squad, like the Suicide Squad, not Suicide Squad. Carl, what an easy differentiation that is. I bet no one mixes them up. You can see like his efforts in there. It's not like, it makes me laugh when people get stabbed, which is probably not a good thing to admit.
But James Gunn can make you laugh about it.
I like that kind of humor. It's nasty. It just, I mean, as I've said a million times, my favorite comedy of all time is The Shining. Like, I have a nasty sense of humor. I don't know why. It's just very dark. Someone said to me recently the other day, they were like, I said something that was so off the cuff, like nothing, and they went, Dave, you're so dark. Oh, sorry.
I'll admit, I've come to appreciate a good. To me, it's not comedy if it's not a little offensive. If it doesn't kind of make you go, "Ooh, I can't believe you went there."
Yeah,
that's what you got. That's like what it's about.
The surprise bit, because like there's so many jokes you see in. If you watch Police Academy, you can kind of tell what the joke's going to be before it happens. Why do you keep Police Academy? But you know what I mean. Like pretty much any mainstream comedy that's maybe even present, you can pretty much tell what's going to come next. But there's something about that sort of humor that really gets me. So yeah, The Authority I think is going to be a lot of fun, like dark fun. But
yeah. So I hope along with the reprinting of The Authority, they give everybody. I mean, you've said right now that there is no plans to do that, but I wish they did. Stormwatch, some type of an omnibus or compendium or some nice collection.
They may yet do it. They may do it.
Yeah.
So it's a really good shout.
So.
Actually,
who are the artists other than Tom Rainey?
Tom Rainey does draw most of it. Brian Hitch jumps on for the second series, the 11-issue series. He's on it for about half. So he's on it for the whole storyline that introduces Apollo and Midnighter, who are major characters for the Authority. But that's when they make their debut. And basically they're part of a knockoff Justice League concept as well. And this was before DC then bought Wildstorm and brought them over to DC Comics.
Right.
So yeah, that timed for roughly when they launched the Authority. So hence it being a DC film, but originally it was an Image comic. Go with it.
Funny how things happen. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's weird, right?
Oh, and
it's
Jim
really,
Lee draws
really weird how
initially.
the.
Sorry.
No, that's fine. Yeah, that's right. Because it does have that aesthetic, right? It's very much the house that Jim Lee built in a way. When you pick up that book and you look at the way the art is, you can tell that it comes from his sort of artistic genealogy of, oh yeah, when people were all trying to draw like that, that's where this book kind of exists.
Yeah.
But it's still a lot of fun. And like you said, with all the different concepts that Warren Ellis comes up with, I'm not even sure not even sure how to describe that. I think there's like I'm going to come up with something and it's going to be a stupid phrase, but like it's beyond science fiction. Like it's scientific in a way, but also very experimental.
Yeah.
Like he thinks about how technology and everything can, and it's futuristic. Like he's a futurist almost.
Yeah, I think
in the way
he figures
comes
ways
up
to
stuff,
make
so.
it, to play with it in the story that maybe other people haven't considered. They just kind of go, this is a blasty bgun. It goes ba-bang bang.
Right.
And that's kind of the extent where he'll go like, but what if you did this with it? And you're like, oh yeah, never thought of that. So yeah, it's smarter stuff. So yeah, it's not
Very
all of
good.
it's gold, the Stormwatch. It's kind of about average, but it should be read before Authority. So it's a good shout. Very good shout. Cool. All right.
You go.
Okay, I'm
Your
going
turn.
to take one that's possibly on your list, and I'm sorry,
Uh-oh.
but
That's
I
okay.
haven't read. I've only read some of this, but I'm already really liking it. So I'm reading it at the moment, and it's the Superman Warworld saga by Philip Kennedy Johnson. Philip Kennedy Johnson. I haven't got that right. I can never get his name right. I think my brain switches all the names around. I gotta say, it's Johnson Kennedy Phillips. Yeah, it's Philip Kennedy Johnson.
It's a mouthful.
But yeah, so it's been very popular. It's been like the first time I've heard people talking about Superman, at least in a very positive way. Whereas, previously people have gone, oh no, they're doing that. Like that seems to be the thing with Superman. They're going to do this with Superman now, just to make him popular. Where, there's been some great stuff over the years, but people are very down on Superman. This has been, I don't know yet what the full draw is, but it's a pretty hefty saga. It kind of has its beginnings in the future state stuff. And it goes through a massive long event that also, funnily enough, features the Authority or a version of the Authority. And then it ends in, I think it's called Kal-El Returns. As an event as well. So there's enough issue. I am reading it partly because I'm putting a reading order together. But yeah, it's the intro storyline is okay, but when it kicks off and it's the proper storyline from Action Comics 1030, it immediately feels like this is going to be epic. So I'm really excited, and I'm literally two issues in to the proper story, and I'm going what's gonna happen now? It feels, something feels very different, even though there are some bits in the story that feel familiar. Something feels very different here, and I can't play. There's something grand that's about to unfold. So yeah, that's
cool.
That's my choice. That's my first pick.
Wasn't on my list, but I thought about it because I haven't read any modern day, post future state Superman. Don't know what's going on. I think I stopped somewhere in the middle of Brian Michael Bendis run.
Right.
Not that it wasn't good, but I just started to feel I'll just wait for things to come out in collected form and read it when it's all said and done and see how it holds up. But everything through that time of me not keeping up with current Superman or current DC or whatever, there was a huge shakeup, right? Like DC really changed its staff, everything.
Yeah.
So I'm way out of the loop. But for this book, every time I see it, every time I read something about it, it seems like something I would really love, and it excites me to see it hopefully all collected in a one easy place to get it. Because right now it's sometimes hardcover, sometimes it just seems. I don't know where we are in the stream of time yet.
No, I think the worst part with it at the minute, there's 5, 6 books, but you don't necessarily know what the order is. or what actually ties in. And I'm not sure if some of like the one-shot tie-in stuff have even been included in the trades. So it's difficult to follow, and they need to basically get the whole thing together and put it just in one book, and it's perfect for the omnibus format. It might not be the thickest, but yeah, it'll be a hefty read. It's a hefty enough read. There's enough heft there to produce an omni. So kiss us.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that as well. Have you read any of the what's happening with Jonathan Kent concurrently with that Superman?
The first issue.
Does it?
Yeah, but I don't.
Yeah?
This is what I'm doing. I'm reading it through now and kind of placing it where I think it should sit. There are a few people out there that have got some suggested orders for it, and I've, had a look at those and then immediately started reading and gone, that makes no sense. So I want to get my teeth into it and put a proper reading order together. The arrogant bastard that I am. I'm right, you're all wrong.
Nobody makes it. I'll show you how it's done.
This is how we do it in England.
Yeah, this is the proper way. Come for the comics, stay for the bollocks. Gotta say
that should have been on the hoodie. Yeah. That's
okay.
my choice.
I like that. It's a good pick. Good shout out to Superman.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm gonna go with one that I'm not sure even why I would want it. Just strictly out of the curiosity. Strictly out of the curiosity of it being part of a particular era. No, hold on.
I'm going to go with the book I don't want now. That will save me a lot of money.
No. It's more because I don't have a connection to the team. This is a team book. I'm going to not waste any more time. Omega Men. The Keith Giffen
the
era.
original run.
The original run. I think it's Ryan Silfer was the writer and Keith Giffen was the artist. You don't hear much about this series, but it's kind of big ideas. I think it was in that different DC stock, the way the issues were also published at the time. Do you remember?
Like the direct
was a
market
little bit of
stock, so it was the slightly heavier and.
Yeah, I for some reason I feel like I remember seeing issues of it in that sort of stock, and it was solicited that this was going to be released for a while. And it never ended up happening, like many of the DC omnibus, like the Starman became a compendium, right? So this was solicited, and I think it's 36 issues or so. So it's definitely a full, complete story. I could be wrong about the 36 issues; it might be more, but it's a complete story. Very sci-fi, but also science fantasy.
Okay,
it's got political elements to it, and they're in the Vega star system where. I think there's an agreement between the Vega star system and the Green Lantern Corps that the Green Lantern don't go there.
Right.
So it's governed differently. Right?
Yeah, that sounds right.
I don't know much about the Omega Men. I just read the Tom King series, which I enjoyed. I did enjoy it. So if there's any sort of connective tissue to if I like this, you might like where it all stems from.
Yeah.
I would give it a chance. So when I said it's something I don't even know if I want, it's more because I've never read it. There's nothing to base is it good, is it bad? I don't know anybody who's even read it to say, hey, that's a good series. What I do know is that that's where Lobo was created.
Yes, yeah. First appearance of Lobo was in Omega Men, yeah.
So there's something just out of sheer curiosity that I want to read it. I don't know why Keith Giffen connected to certain things is always like it always sparks my interest because he's a really big ideas guy.
He is, yeah. I mean, like he's behind so much stuff, both at Marvel and DC. Because it was him who initially kicked off Annihilation at Marvel.
That's right.
He likes his space epics, and this is, I think it's like I wonder if it's influenced by Star Wars because it's basically like a bunch of rebels fighting back against. Essentially an empire, isn't it? Essentially, yeah. And that's the thing is how does it all... Yeah, you're right. It's like the Citadel, they call it. Right. I just read a synopsis on what the original Omega Men series was about, and it gives you, a breeze through when you go on Wikipedia. You still leave very vague, but it was enough to make me go, I think I would
give something like that a chance. I like Star Wars. I like, so it's like a Star Wars mixed with superheroes.
Yeah.
Almost like a Guardians of the Galaxy on the DC side of the street.
Yeah. Yeah.
Kind of.
That probably ties up. They should cross them over.
A good DC crossover is well overdue, huh?
Imagine.
Or even just a good publishing of some classic material. Can dream.
That was the last.
We have to
list.
wait for Disney. I know. I remember. I was them like that. That is a great pick. Well, yeah. Marvel vs. DC Omnibus. Great pick.
Who knows? We might get it.
Okay.
That's a good choice.
Yeah, Omega Men.
Yeah, I like it. I'm really curious. I don't know much about it either. I think if they did it, if they announced it, I'd probably be intrigued enough to at least look into it a bit more first. But I like that off the beaten path stuff from the big two. So that's a good shout. I like it. It's an interesting one.
Thank you.
My number 2 is this is one that was in the backup list last time when we went through our kind of backups. We ran through some very quickly, and I'm still not much wiser about this one. But it came up in conversation again, though, recently. So when we did a collector's item special recently, it's just gone out with Mike from the Hardcover Comic, and he's actually...
Shout out to Mike.
Hi, Mike. He's basically done... what do you call it? Custom bind. He's done a custom binding of the Justice League Dark run that's got Wonder Woman in it.
Okay, I remember that.
I think it's Rom V and maybe Tinian. I'm not sure. And I'm not like a massive fan of either writer, but there's something about this lineup. So it's got Wonder Woman, Swamp Thing, Detective Chimp. And you're kind of like, this is nice and random, man. This is the kind of stuff that makes me go, ooh, they got a monkey. They got an Amazon. They got a dude made out of moss. There's probably some other people on the team. I don't care. I want just those. Those are fine. Just give me that, and I'll be happy. So yeah.
You just want to see the Amazon play with the monkey. Don't lie.
I can confirm nor deny nothing.
Yeah. I remember him talking about. I haven't read any of that stuff, but you read the. So did you like Justice League Dark as a theme, like as a team sort of thing?
I like the idea,
the concept of it.
Yeah. Oh, Zatanna. Yeah, because I think Zatanna's one of the characters, and possibly John Constantine. I think they both maybe come over from that lineup. So they initially did Justice League Dark as part of the New 52. It was a whole new concept for that. It was like all the magic themed characters as one team, but they were like the Defenders are for Marvel. They weren't friends, so they're barely a team. It's all out of necessity. And it was okay.
Right.
It was all right. There were some high points. The Jeff Lemire issues were probably the highest point. They were good fun. It wasn't a complete winner overall. It wasn't like one of those things that you highly recommend to anyone. But I think it feels like they learned a lot from it, and they took it in a new direction with the post Dark Knight's Metal Justice League Dark series. Added Wonder Woman, brought some of the old characters back, mixed it up. And here we are, and the artwork alone looks great. I think they did a story called The Witching. Did they do The Witching Hour or something like that? With a crossover with Wonder Woman, because she's obviously in it anyway. And just the art on that, all the promo stuff for that looks so cool. So yeah, it's just one of those. I like dark stuff, and it looks dark, and it's called Dark. So like it ticks all the boxes, dude.
Nice. The more you said dark, it made me want to shout out the television show on Netflix. I hope you watch it soon.
I do want to watch it.
Dark.
It's the things I generally have things on TV while I'm working on reading orders.
Yeah, I get you.
I can't do that with subtitles, man.
No, I got it. Well, good call for to the custom binding, but also to the let's make that. People want it.
They do want it.
Clearly, people. Yeah. So, I wonder how on a bit of a tangent, just how valuable these conversation shows of collectors are for these companies, because I think a lot of people, I don't think you can really tell if something is like a hot series, like let's say the Superman, for instance, from Philip Kennedy Johnson. Maybe people are saying, you know what, if it's good, if you guys collect that, I'll read it.
Yeah.
Once it's all collected. But in these trades, like almost like the trades have almost become the new single issue. Like I wonder how hard it is for them to,
Yeah.
How hard is it for them to tell what people really want unless we do this, right?
I guess so. I mean, like, people need to be having the conversation. Otherwise, just, you're randomly shouting it into the air or on a comment on an Instagram post or something, going like, I'd buy this as a collection. It's too much. But I think, like, when people start to do it and people start to comment, hint, hint, feel free to comment and share and stuff, everyone. But yeah, when people do that and they interact, you start to get a vibe, I think, for what people actually want. But even then, the thing is, you can have people say, we really want this. And then when they release it, do people buy it?
No one buys it.
There's been a number of times when that's happened. So
that's the thing, right? So I wonder how different the market has become now with people, collectors like us, who are now saying, upgrade it. We're waiting for the upgraded version. And they're putting out the hardcover or the chunky, whatchamacallit, like a complete collection.
Yeah.
A complete collect, and we're just, no, I want that omnibus.
Yeah.
And like, but no one bought the other stuff ahead of time. So I wonder how confusing it might be at this point.
Most people,
for them to know just.
Sorry.
No, go ahead.
I was going to say, most people I talk to, it's like with the Starman 2-book compendium series that was announced as an omnibus. And then they changed it. I don't want to say downgraded, but they changed that to a compendium, a paperback. It's the same thing, but they made it smaller and paperbacky. But even then, there were people saying, I'm not going to buy it until I know they're releasing volume 2. Because they've done that to us so many times.
That's true.
So people have been bitten.
That's true.
And we talked about this last time we did a top 10 most wanted DC Omnis. And it came up then. It's because they have let us down a number of times. And it's, it's like with the Justice League International. There should have been 3 volumes. They released 2 volumes. That's not cheap to buy 2/3 of it and then not have the third, So it's not fair to do that to your audience, and it sets a bad precedent.
Yeah, I would be interested to see what who the creators are on the 3rd volume, because I think some people were surprised that they had even done a 2nd volume because of some of the people involved in the credits, because there's some of the secondary books that are tied into the series that are reprinted. Some of the characters writers are unsavory people now, right? So I wonder if that ever influences what they might print or not print. I don't know, but at the same time, like, it's still out there. It's still your product. It's still your library.
Yeah.
So I wonder. It's interesting.
I think it might do. I think they'll be able to tell. There's a Wonder Man omnibus on the way. I'm not sure if that includes his ongoing series from the 90s. I'd need to check. I'm not interested in buying it, so I haven't looked. But that would answer your question, because that guy was in prison. The guy that wrote it.
Who wrote it? Sorry.
I think he was also the guy that wrote Green Lantern. He wrote a lot of Kyle Rayner's stuff, or early stuff. What was his name? Oh, I'd have to check.
Not J. I'm thinking J.G. Jones, but that's not the right one.
That's not.
I think
let's
that
not
might
call
be
out J.G. Jones as a.
No, it's not.
Gerard Jones.
That's incorrect. That's
Gerard Jones. So he went to prison.
Yeah.
For for not good stuff.
I don't mean to confuse anybody's names, but the surnames were similar.
J.G. Jones is fine.
Yeah.
He's been accused of nothing. So
nothing. Shout out to him.
Please don't sue us.
No. But yeah, I wonder if that has anything to do with stuff, like if that comes up in the conversation, like, do we go forward? Do we not go forward? So
it's possible.
Yeah, possible. But it's true. That's always been the hang up with being a collector of DC stuff, is you just never know if they're going, like, sometimes even series don't complete. It's like, you left us hanging. All-Star Batman and Robin. You've never finished it.
Yeah.
Jerks, right? Just finish it. Not that it was even that good.
It wasn't good, but we need closure.
Yeah. What happens next? Oh, that's funny.
There are some series they did finish. They probably shouldn't have done, but hey, these are the way it goes.
that's true too. All right, we on. This is my third. Yeah,
Yes,
it's my
you're
third.
third.
All right, I'm gonna be even more random. I haven't picked any Superman yet or any of my favorites. I'm gonna go with something again that I've never read.
Yeah.
Um, Very interested though because of the creator and the description of it. And again, it doesn't. I feel like it's its own corner of DC in a way,
Okay.
and it's another 1980 series, Warlord from Mike Grell.
Oh my god, that's interesting. Okay.
Um, so Warlord from Mike Grell. It's a sword and sorcery character. It's fantasy mixed with sword and sorcery mixed with like. It's right up my alley of stuff that I would like. So it's the titular character, Travis Morgan, tames the name Warlord as he fights for the freedom of the people of Scutaris, where he was a fighter pilot in Vietnam War. I don't know if you know the history of Warlord. If you do, I apologize.
No, well,
but he's a fighter pilot.
There's an audience there.
Yeah, that's right. Fighter pilot in the Vietnam War, if I'm not mistaken, and he falls through some type of a dimensional portal in the North Pole.
Yeah.
That's the basics of it. And he ends up on Scutaris and he becomes a savior. I guess it's kind of like a John Carter sort of vibe.
It's kind of John Carter, but
even in the
inward,
vein of,
isn't it? Because it's like an underground city. Underground.
Yeah.
I never get when they do that though, because you go like, oh, it's daytime. You go, how do you know? It's underground.
Yeah. So just the he's almost like a He-Man looking character, the way he's drawn, but very futuristic. So again, not much of don't know much about it. Just I know when I see it, I know who worked on it, that type of stuff.
Yeah.
But it lasted a long enough time.
Yeah, it went on for over 100 issues.
Something like that, right? Like it had a shelf life, and there was an audience for it. So I would be interested in getting I think the first volume, or I could be again wrong, but like 56 issues straight was
that the Mike Grell?
Maybe more when Mike Grell was on it. I think so, because I know it Dan Jurgens worked on it for a while as well, but it could have been under Mike Grell's. Yeah, I think he started out working on Warlord for a while. I could be mistaken, but I heard him in an interview saying, because he was mentored by Mike Grell, and he was also in the Green Lantern. Yeah, in the Green Lantern Longbow Hunter saga. He's one of the artists during the Green Lantern time. Because Mike Grell didn't write the main...
Green Arrow.
Green Arrow. Sorry. That's right.
Don't apologize to me.
Something green. Yeah.
I do that all the time.
Yeah. No, I'd be just curious. I think it would be a lot of fun.
Yeah, I think those early issues would be more interesting. Because I've read 2 issues. 2 or 3.
Yeah.
I've read the Legends tie-ins.
Yeah.
And they were like issue 114 or something like that. So we're quite late, and they were a bit more scrappy. So, yeah, they weren't necessarily the strongest, but I'd happily go back and have a look at some of the earlier stuff.
So I think they could do a 50-issue omnibus, because issues 53 to 71, I'm just reading a factoid, are ghost-written by Mike Grell's wife at the time.
What?
Sharon Wright.
Oh.
Yeah, so he didn't even write from 53 to 71. It was ghostwritten. He got the credit for it. So, yeah, we could get 52 issues. 52 of Warlord.
Yeah, easily.
Right? It's possible.
Actually, I mean, the thing is, that's possibly one of those ones that maybe should have finished a bit earlier than it ended up. Like when they've told their story, it was probably time to stop. But like, we've got a question actually from a viewer, where we were talking about books being cancelled early, or you know, not actually being ended properly in any conceivable way. So CCITV asks, what's your opinion about Kevin Smith comics? So of course, like a lot of Kevin Smith's comics, he never finished them.
No.
So he do some DC stuff. He did that Onomatopoeia, but I think that might have finished. But he didn't finish It's Daredevil the Target.
No.
And I don't know if he did the same with any other titles for DC.
I know he worked on Green Arrow.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, of course.
And he brought him back because Green Arrow had been dead for a number of years, and he had always said, like, if you want to figure out a way to bring him back, I got a story. But I don't remember if he finished it. I think it's his Daredevil, which is kind of his outstanding, like, hey, are we going to finish that? Sort of thing.
There was Spider-Man Black Cat as well that didn't finish. 2 issues
that didn't
short.
Finish?
And they came out like 5 years later or something.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, just to decide. So just wanted to thank CCI TV for the question, because that's a good point before we went too far away from that unfinished titles topic.
Yeah.
But sorry, yeah. But Warlord did. I don't know how Warlord ends, because that's the kind of thing that feels like he needs to go home at some time.
Yeah, that's true. And I think that's the. Where do you start? Where do you end reading a series like that? Right.
I think as you go, because
I think it would be fun
later on. Like the Legends crossover ties into it, and like Desard from the New Gods characters is sent into Skatar. How do you pronounce it? Skatari Teenage Riot. He ends up going down there and trying to kind of like ruin his rep. But if he can get in there, why doesn't he then go home? Is it he's trying to get home? I wasn't 100% sure what was going on, but it was very
I
late.
Guess it's one of those. I guess it's just one of those stories where you become lost in time and you just adopt to your new world. Maybe that's all it became.
Better down there. He gets to wear just a loincloth around his bollocks and a big feathery hat. Who wouldn't want to live like that? If I could live like that around my house, I would.
Right?
Yeah.
He got a helmet like Thor. I think the rest of his underwear is metal.
Yeah.
Right? And he's got a sword. He's walking around with a sword, and he finds a princess that becomes the queen.
That's dangerous.
So like he's living that. He's the warlord.
He's the warlord.
Right?
I don't need clothes. I'm the warlord. Oh, I'm the warlord. I know your dad.
All right. Your number tray.
It's an interesting pick, man, and I like it. My numero truno is one of the reserves from last time. So we're not going to do reserves at the end of this time. We're going to save them up. But it's Shadow Pact, which I mentioned on the last one. But it's basically the event Day of Vengeance that is one of the miniseries that leads into Infinite Crisis, which might all just be jargon to some people listening. So basically they had a big crossover event called Infinite Crisis around about the same time Marvel were doing Civil War, and everyone was very excited, and the way that they launched it was very similar to how they launched Annihilation. So they had a one shot where some big stuff happened, and then they ran that story out into 4 6-issue miniseries, and one of them was Day of Vengeance, where the Spectre goes mad and he's got no host. So some of the magic characters come together and they have to try and contain the Spectre. And you wouldn't believe one of the members of the team, mate. Do you know? It's Detective Chimp. Yes, sirree.
I feel like you got a thing for the monkeys.
Yeah, I've got a soft spot for the monkey. Monkey with a hat, dude. It's a monkey with a hat.
Sorry. Monkey with the hat.
It's a monkey that dresses like Sherlock Holmes. So yeah, and some other characters as well, probably. So like Blue Devil is in there, Enchantress, who some people might remember a version of her in Suicide Squad, not the Suicide Squad film, where she kind of gyrated weirdly on screen. That's not it. Ragman, I think, was on. There's some very random magic characters, but very bizarre characters, and they ended up being having their own ongoing series, the Shadow Pact. It went on for about 25 issues, and it was written by Bill Willingham, who created Fables, the Vertigo series, which is back as well, incidentally. So yeah, I don't know if it was necessarily the greatest thing. You know, there wasn't as much hype as there was for like the Secret Six, which came out roughly the same time. But monkey with a hat, dude. Monkey with a hat. I mean,
how could you not?
And I think does he occasionally smoke a pipe?
I feel like he does.
He's my idol.
If you put on a hat, you could double for him.
Screw you, buddy.
With the pipe in your mouth.
What are you saying?
I'm just messing.
If you don't watch it, I'll fling my own poop. But so yeah, I guess they'd have to include Day of Vengeance miniseries and the special. There's Shadow Pact 1 to 25. Yes, I'm reading this and I made notes. And there's also a miniseries. So I think the run was cancelled essentially, but it did continue in an 8-part miniseries called Reign in Hell. And again, I don't know if it was any good, but I mean, I'm only going to say it one more time. Monkey with a hat. So that's my choice. Shadow Pact Omnibus.
You had me
please.
at monkey.
I would like to have the Monkey with a Hat Omnibus, please.
And I just, if I was thinking, as you said, people may not know what an Infinite Crisis is, and I was thinking, my mom has no idea what a one-shot is. What are these guys talking about? So for someone like my mom watching, this would be considered an omnibus. It's a collection of a lot of comics from cover to cover. That is 5 years worth of comics story in one book.
Yeah.
So we just want more story, Mom. That's it.
That's all we want.
That's what it's all about.
All we want is more. Is that too much to ask? Is it?
Yeah. Do I really have enough books? I don't think so.
No one has enough books. No
Dave definitely doesn't have enough books.
I don't know if Misha's
my wife bought me a pillow actually that says, "Yes, I need these many books."
Everyone does.
Yeah, everyone should for sure.
No worries, CCTV. By the way, thank you for your question. Yes.
Is it your turn? Is it time for
your turn? It's your number 4. Oh, what, you want to do a little commercial break?
Yes, a little commercial break. Just to remind everybody, Dave. Take it away.
Don't worry, we're not sponsored by anybody, so we're not going to try and make you buy cereal or anything to spray on your armpits or anything like that. But just to let you know, the English side of the Omniverse Comics Guide will be appearing at UK CGF Comic-Cons, a number of them this year. The next one being Saturday, the 18th of March at Bristol. I did know off the top of my head, it's at a stadium. But we've advertised it on some of our socials. We'll no doubt advertise it again. But it's Bristol Comic Con, UK CGF Bristol. You cannot miss it. So give it a look. We will run dates and updates and everything on the various socials and on the website. So that's coming up. At the same time, though, dude, what's happening on Saturday, the 18th of March for you?
Well, on the weekend of the 18th, so from the 17th, March 17th, so the Friday to the Sunday, 17, 18, 19, we got the Toronto Comic Con.
3 days?
Which is, as we record, 3 days. So as of this recording and as of this live, it's next week Friday.
Whoa.
So we're gonna be doing a live podcast there with guests. If you've listened to episodes from the Cave of Solitude, Dax Gordine, who is the writer and creator and artist for Forest Folk, who are artists from Raid Studios. Sean Daly, who's done Bridge Builders, Creed, a couple of books with Top Shelf. All of the books that he's worked on are escaping me. Lost Souls, but people know I'm a really big fan of him. And Fred Kennedy, who is releasing Dead Romans with Image Comics. So we're going to have a panel with the 3 of them. And it's going to be a live podcast. So if you're in the Toronto area and you're going to be at Comic-Con, check out our panel 4:00 on Friday. And maybe throughout the weekend there'll be a couple of other panels that I'll hopefully be moderating. But if not, keep a lookout for the Omniverse. I'll have a big hoodie on. This one says Hitman, but it'll have a big Omniverse Comics guide on it. Don't worry.
Guide.
That's right.
So yeah,
great. That's exciting.
It is exciting. So we've got a couple of those bits coming up. If you do, if you are at any of those, feel free to come up and have a chat. Give us some grief. We'd love to just to speak to you.
Yeah.
The commercial. Reed says the commercial break needs a jingle. So we'll work on that next time. Or if you want to send one in, feel free to do some beatboxing, and we'll run that for you.
I'll have. Okay, we'll do a jingle. I'll write a rap next time.
You got to bust some lyrics over the top of that.
Yeah, you beatbox and I'll do a rap.
Done.
Is that good, Reeds? All right.
I think he loves it. He hasn't said so, but I'll assume his silence means yes. So, also, if you want to head to the website, there's plenty of new stuff being added there all the time. It's omniversecomics.guide. You'll see updates on all the podcasts and videos and whatnot. We'll also be plenty of reading orders. We're adding reviews. Yada, yada, yada. There's loads and loads of stuff, and there's going to be more and more stuff to come. So, if you want to jump on there, feel free to support the Omniverse Comics Guide by signing up. Any assistance you give us is massively appreciated. So yes, have a little look at the website. Even if you just go on and have a wander, feel free.
I'm biased. It's a good looking website. I gotta say.
Well, we know who's responsible for that, and it isn't me.
Yeah. Is it? It's that time, isn't it? To send a shout out to me.
She's gonna kill you if you do another one.
Press the blush button. Hey, she deserves it. If you like that website and it's easy for you to navigate,
she'll make you another one.
That's right. Are we back to the show?
Let's go back to the show. And we're in.
All right. And we're back. So during the commercial break, we were talking about somewhat. No. Is it my turn? Your turn?
It's yours, I think.
Oh, Shadow Pact. You did Shadow Pact.
I did Shadow Pact, yeah.
All right. What other random ones can I think of today? I'm gonna go with one that was on my list last time.
Okay.
Because I think it's one that is, I think, most likely to happen. Like, it doesn't make sense why it hasn't. And this is Action Comics by Dan Jurgens during the Rebirth era.
Okay.
I'm a big fan of just Dan Jurgens' Superman because of the nostalgia, but this series is actually, it holds up. It was a lot of fun, and there was a lot of baggage going into the Rebirth era. We mentioned it on our last DC Omnibus one, but I think it's really worth having on the shelf. It needs to be. They did, the Superman and from Tomasi and Gleason, which is great series. Mm-hmm. Love it. But I'd love to have the Action Comics to go along with it. It was a nice era of Superman. And there's a lot of nostalgia with it. Like, it starts off with a Doomsday fight, and I think it gets into, like, between both series, they really sink their teeth into, like, the stuff of the 90s that was a lot of fun.
Yeah. And
then do, like, new things with it. So they're nice little companion pieces that should both be collected, I think.
Yeah, they should go together on a shelf. They've got Super Lex as well. I have a real soft spot for Super Lex. I love that whole thing.
Yeah.
I don't know why. It's just, I love it. But yeah, it's a really good shout, because they missed some issues. I didn't realize until way after that they missed some of the issues in the Superman run for the Tomasi and Gleason run. Yeah,
the stuff actually that I referenced to you, where I said I really like this part. We mentioned it in the last episode. It's funny you bring it up, but that was written by James Robinson, and they didn't include it.
Yeah,
they were great issues.
See, that's. I'm not going to go into that again, but they do that when they make it a creator thing. They often don't include certain issues in that run where other people did. Just put everything in. So they should do that. If they're seeing as they've left those out, they should put that in the Action Comics Omnibus as well to finish that era.
Yeah, I was gonna do the trade up with the Superman and Son. I guess that's what it's called, Omnibus.
Yeah.
And get rid of my trades of the same series, but there's a trade within those that collects these really nice stories that I couldn't wait to read again, and I realized, like, I'll be missing one of my favorite portions of this thing. Like, why would they do that? It's silly, really silly. But yeah. A shout out to Dan Jurgens. The Action Comics series from the Rebirth era I thought was really, really strong stuff. I'm happy that he got to have another era to kind of redefine the character again. That he spent so much time with it in the 90s, right? I don't know if anyone's at this point had as much influence on Superman as him. But that was a good little second stint. No, especially because of this second run that was solid and dealt with cleaning up a lot of the things that kind of confused us, and just repacking, almost like fixing the Rubik's Cube that Superman had become at that time.
Yeah. That's good call.
Love to see it.
Well, good shout.
All right.
All right, I'm
Number
gonna
4, Mr. Dave.
weirdly pick something also featuring a certain big blue guy. When he was very blue and electrical, and I actually, funnily enough,
Whoa.
was talking to Reed of the Reader Reads fame earlier today about this very run, and said I might include it in tonight's episode. So yeah, it's the Electric Blue Saga of Superman, and I know there are a lot of people that hate that run, but it's almost like in a way, it's the equivalent of the Clone Saga, which they did with Spider-Man, because there are a lot of people that just go like, that's trash, and there are a lot of people that go, I love it, and I don't need to excuse myself, thanks very much. I've got a weird soft spot for the Electric Blue Superman. I thought Electric Blue isn't that a dodgy adult film? It's not a dodgy adult Superman. Yeah, it's electric. It's Superman Blue, and they kind of had Superman Red at one point. It was a little bit silly. It was a lot silly, but so yeah, Superman got new power. I think it was around about the time they were going, oh, we've dropped again. The death of Superman raised us back up, and now we have the wedding, and what are we going to do now? We need to kind of keep people in. And they went, why don't we give him a whole new set of powers for no apparent reason? And so they did, and he's trying to figure out why he's got these powers. And Superman, the Blue Electric Boogaloo, says Reed Reads, and he's right. That's what it should be called. Superman Blue Electric Boogaloo Omnibus. It's perfect. It'd probably be about 2 volumes. They did it as a trade. They released one and then they went...
They just released one. And again, I was like, ooh, are they going for it? Like, are they going to put these all out there? And I didn't bite because I'm like, they're probably not going to continue this.
That's the problem. That's the exact problem.
That's a good shout. I have a soft spot for it myself. When I started... I was buying that comic book when me and my mom were living on our own in a 1-bedroom apartment. There was a comic shop right next door. So during the summer when Superman switched costumes, that's when I had a comic shop that I could go to weekly.
Right.
So that was the one book that I was buying. If I had $2.75 at the time, $3 maybe, I could get my one issue a week. And because it still had the diamond, I knew how to follow the order of those stories.
Yeah.
So I really enjoyed reading those stories, not really caring how it compared to whatever else was really good at the time. To me, I fondly remember it.
Yeah.
In a way, I know it wasn't as the costume, right? It's just such a.
I think the costume's cool.
It is cool, but it's such a part of the time.
Yeah.
Right? And it's so different. But I think that's what's cool about it is that Electric Blue Superman, it added that nuance of when he doesn't turn on the light, if you will, he can be killed.
Yeah.
That's
vulnerable. True. He was vulnerable.
Which was a cool aspect to Clark Kent now really like, I'm human.
Yeah, he was
I
adapting
really have the
to
limitations
change.
now.
That's a good
that was
point.
neat.
I'd forgotten about
really
that
neat.
part.
Yeah. And the suit was given to him by the material to make the suit was given to him by Lex Luthor's Contessa was her name, like his baby mother. She was the one because Superman was at a point where he was about to dissipate, like just fade away if they didn't put him into something. So that she gave him the material to make the containment suit. So in a weird way, Lex Luthor tech saved him. Yeah, it was kind of cool. There was some stuff. There's some neat stuff.
It's just fun, though, man. It's just silly comics. I remember, like, Mark Miller did an issue. So in the Y2K event that was literally in year 2000, he dedicated a whole issue. He kind of brought back Superman Blue just to be able to shut it down again and go, no, you'll never be Superman. You're like, you just brought it back and reminded us how cool that costume looks. Like, thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, it was fun, and it was even in the for quite a while. That Superman was what was in the Grant Morrison Justice League.
Yes.
So there are a lot of
with no
other
explanation.
Books that are. Yeah, he just shows up from one issue to the next, and he's in a brand new outfit. So it was acknowledged line wide, right? And I think the new power set that the blue suit gave him played a key role in one of those storylines. afterwards.
I think it is
So,
the key storyline, funnily enough, where they fight the key.
Yeah, was it
I think
the
so.
Rock of Ages? Is that the one? Yeah.
Oh, now I'm
Yeah, I
not
think
sure.
you're right.
I need to reread some of those again. But yeah, I rereads.
Yeah, if I misquoted it, but yeah, it's fun. It definitely is fun. Good pick. I like that.
Oh, cool. Thank you. You could say it sucks, but it's cool.
But I have multiple issues of that first when he changes suits, because it was that glow in the dark thing where you turn on the light and you could just see the light of. I got a couple of those because I like I said, I'm a sucker for it.
Yeah.
I would probably buy it.
I saw that in the shop. I didn't buy them at the time. I only read these like 2 years ago. So it's not nostalgia for me. It's just a weird soft spot. But I forgot that I remember seeing it in the comic shop that had the glow in the dark covers. Completely forgot about it.
Yeah, I used to have that hanging in my room just because I thought it was so cool. You shut the light off and it's like Superman's there. I'm not gonna say it sucks. When I bought those single issues and read them, so don't remember it all, but it was fun.
Some of it might be best forgotten, but it's still just it's fun in it. Yeah. So what's your number 4, dude?
We're number 4. Am I number 4?
Yeah.
Or am I number 5? I picked Omega Man, Warlord, Stormwatch.
Yeah.
And then I picked Dan Jurgens Superman. So this is my 5th.
Balls. That was my mistake.
That's okay. No, that's okay. You almost gave me a bonus pick.
Gave you a what? Oh,
yeah,
sorry.
Number 5.
I misheard that. Don't worry about it.
A bonus.
Oh, right. Your mum's watching, dude. Take it easy.
Okay. It's the same character from 2 different writers that I have here.
Are you picking between them, or can you have them both?
No, because they're separate runs. So I'm going to go with the John Ostrander run of the Spectre.
Okay.
It was... I forgot who was on it. I don't know if it was Mandrake, because him and Tom Mandrake were working on the Martian Manhunter as well. And that's what I listed in our last episode. I would really... That'd probably be my number 1 pick of an omnibus I'd be really excited for. 36 issues of the Martian Manhunter with Ostrander and Mandrake. I said that last time. Hopefully he's included in some way in the movies where they'll invest a little bit of attention.
It could happen.
But I think around that same time, John Ostrander was working on the Spectre. And I think he really zeroed in on him being like the vengeance of God. And it was Jim Corrigan at the time.
Yes.
Who was the Spectre. So I don't know much about it. The other option I was going to go with was J.M. DeMatteis working on the Spectre when Hal Jordan was the Spectre, which interests me just because I know the character more, like Hal Jordan, and I like the writer. But I hear a lot of good things about John Ostrander's time on the character, and he really got to sink his teeth into like some of the religious allegories of it. Because him being...
He's the wrath of God, right?
That's right. Yeah, that's right. And who he... Like, it kind of gets into a bit of the history of who have been the Spectre and that whole mythology behind it and how Jim Corrigan fits into it. So I don't want to butcher the storyline or the plot because I really don't know it, but I know that it was a pretty well-respected run of that character that is kind of weird. Like he's such a big, ominous figure.
Yeah.
Where you kind of like, is he the Watcher? Is he the Beyonder of DC? Like he comes in and sometimes he just, Spectre's here, story's done, solved, like a Deus Ex Machina, and then sometimes he's not.
That's the thing I don't get. It's because, like, the stuff that I've read with him in, he does tend to kind of come in and like, oh, that's sorted then, or he's crazy and like this is a major threat. Like it's weird, but it kind of veers between those two things. And I was thinking, like, what would a Spectre series go like? Like, how does that work? And it's funnily enough, I was actually looking up the J.M. DeMatteis series today, just looking through some of the covers. There's a Spectre themed story that's going to be covered this week. It's going to be launched on Friday. I won't say much more about it. It's not like a big secret or anything, but yeah. So that we are going to do a reading order that involves the Spectre, and I was just doing a bit of research, and I was thinking like that looks like a really nice series, that Hal Jordan one. So that really intrigues me, that one. But I don't know much about the Ostrander one.
Yeah, I wanna look up who I saw on there as the because I remember looking at if it was either the JMD or the Ostrander runs, and I'm like, oh, that artist was also on it. I don't know if it was Doug Monkey or it was one of those guys where it like piqued my interest, and I don't want to misrepresent it. I could look it up just on my Google machine. When I'm looking down, it's not because I'm ignoring you.
That's okay. Do you want me to?
My note. Yeah.
Actually, well,
go for your fifth.
Oh, you want me to do it? Okay.
No, sorry. What were you gonna say before I interrupt?
I wasn't sure. I wasn't sure if you wanted to do that while I was doing my fifth.
Yeah, go do your fifth. Yeah. No one needs to spend time.
No, we want to watch you Google.
Hold on. Yeah, let me Google. Let me not get it wrong.
All right. The reason why I laughed earlier when you mentioned Stormwatch is because my number 5 is The Authority Volume 2, essentially. So they often reprint the Warren Ellis and Frank Quitely Authority stuff, but they don't tend to reprint the stuff after that. They have done. I think there was.
I don't even know it.
There's one run that Ed Brubaker wrote, and they released it as a trade about 3 years ago, and I managed to pick that up, but I wasn't sure how it all fitted together. So, I mean, someone needs to do a reading order of that, frankly. That would be helpful. So anyway, immediately after the stuff everyone has read, or the people that have read The Authority have read, there was like a Garth Ennis Authority Kev one shot, and then there was like a mini series.
That makes sense.
More Kev. Apparently, I don't know who Kev is, but apparently it's just a regular guy. I don't know if he gets powers. I don't know. There's like Authority. There was a second Authority series. There was Authority the Lost Year that started for 2 issues and then cancelled, and then they finished it. I think Keith Giffen, funnily enough, finished it later. So it made up the 12-issue story it was going to be. So there's other Authority stuff that they just don't run. I don't think it should be the Authority Volume 2, because they've done the Warren Ellis and Frank Quitely stuff as an omnibus. The reason why I don't want it to be Volume 2 is because I have the absolutes of the Authority. So if it's a Volume 2, that's going to really piss me off. Oh no!
So how would you
just subtitle it? It's like when they kind of give those things a little extra subtitle, like if they called, I don't know, I'd have to double check what some of the events are that tie into it, but there's like I think the Ed Brubaker Authority trade was called Evolution. So just write that on the title, okay. Authority Evolution Omnibus. That kind of thing. But the numbering thing is often the problem with these things, Where I think like people don't want to. Sometimes people want to buy Volume 2, but they don't want Volume 1, so they feel like they've got to buy a book they don't really. So just don't number them. Just give them a subtitle.
That's what happened with me. That's what happened with me and X Factor. I'm not gonna lie.
What?
I don't want to start off at Volume 2 when I know I had no need for the Volume 1 that doesn't really have anything to do with what they collect in Volume 2. And it just looks really weird on your shelf to go from Volume 2 to 4, however many they're going to do of that X Factor. Where's your Volume
Custom
1?
Dust cover, dude. Custom Dust cover.
That's true, too. That's true, too. Good call. Yes,
so
there just put a piece of tape on.
Yeah, just draw on it. Put some Tipex over the numbers.
Scratch it out. Yeah.
Thank you. We're sponsored by
So I never
Tipex.
found out.
We're not.
I never found out who drew the Ostrander run. So if someone does know, shout it out to us. But just reading what is on Wikipedia about it, it's quite interesting what he did with that character. But yeah, it's funny that I picked Stormwatch to start, you picked the Authority to end.
Yeah,
a version of the Authority.
Yeah, we did kind of start and end it with Wildstorm bookends.
Yeah, there you go. I was surprised actually at some of the things that had popped into my head because I was thinking so originally like mainstream DC, like which DC, which Green Lantern, which this character, just the main ones. Yeah. And I'm like, but they've done the ones they should have done already. Like what needs to be in an omnibus form. I don't know what other era of Wonder Woman you'd have to put in omnibus at this point. More Superman.
Definitely more Superman.
But then there's a lot more of those off the beaten path stuff that DC has that if it's not Batman adjacent, it doesn't get attention, it feels like, and it's annoying.
Yeah, it is quite annoying. Although the route they seem to be taking at the minute is, I don't know if it's a tester or what the thinking is, but they have got a lot of compendiums coming out. So, I mean,
what do they got?
They've got top 10. I mean, that's not mainstream. Again, It's not mainstream DC, but it's still from DC. So it's Alan Moore's ABC Comics. There's a top 10 compendium. There's a Tom Strong compendium. They've got the Milestone stuff is still coming out. They've got Sandman Mystery Theatre, so that's a Vertigo series. They've got, and that's volume 1 of 2, I think. The Unwritten, and I don't know if that's going to be one book, and that's another Vertigo series. So they are producing a lot of compendiums this year.
That's cool.
Yeah, really cool.
I'm happy to see that it's becoming more of a popular format.
Yeah.
The compendium.
Well, the compendiums, that's the thing, I think, with the compendiums they are announcing, or have announced, they tend to be slightly more obscure. So it might well be that they'll go, do you know what, we'll omnibus the stuff that we think is a definite sell. And then stick to it. And then what we'll do then is we'll release the kind of more obscure stuff as compendiums. We're like, I could live with that. I could totally live with that. Because the important thing is getting these stories into people's hands. There's really good stuff there that just isn't in print.
Right.
You know?
No, it's true.
We've got DC Infinite, and you can expand that apparently now with DC Infinite Ultra. I don't know what the prices are for that. Obviously, it changes internationally.
How is that app? Are you enjoying the app, the format of it? I haven't.
Yeah.
Yeah?
I love it.
Okay.
I genuinely love the app.
Good to know.
I love using it. I love being on it. You can search for an issue really easily, whereas on the Marvel app you can't. I think they've started to try and feed that in, but I find that looking for stuff is better. Getting recommended
What's
stuff
the subscription price per month?
I don't know. I think they do a sale occasionally, so keep an eye out for a sale. But there are 2 tiers. So there's like standard DC Infinite, and then there's Ultra. And if you get Ultra, you get the books like a month. No, only a short time after they come out in print.
Okay, you can keep up to date a little quicker.
Yeah, so you get that option, and you get the trades. You get the trade paperbacks. You get the collected editions as a single thing. So like, rather than go through single issues and going like, where do I go next? You can go like, oh, I'm going to read this. I'm going to read Stormwatch Volume 1.
Right. And that's on the Ultra only?
That's only
or
on
is that
Ultra.
Also with the...
No, just Ultra.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay. Because, Comixology used to sell what would be essentially like a Marvel Masterwork or...
Yeah.
A hardcover that collected a lot of issues. You can buy that version of the book or a single issue.
Yeah.
So I wasn't sure what the...
It's the same
that's
principle,
cool. That's interesting.
Yeah. Funny enough, it is that exact same idea, but in the app. And I think like where you can save as much as you want, you can reserve as much as you want. The only tricky thing I find with this app is that it's hard once you've saved comics to your phone. It's kind of you have to getting them back off is a bit awkward. So they just need to have it so that when you get to the end of the issue, you can just go, yeah, I don't want that on my phone now. That's the only drawback. You have to kind of go back into the series, or there might be a way that I'm missing, but I generally have to go into the series, find the issue, take it off. Like, that could be better. But that's the only complaint I've got. They've got like really random stuff. They've got Vertigo stuff on there. They've got Wildstorm stuff on there. They've got like this Madame Xanadu Vertigo series and I've got a soft spot for Madame Xanadu because of Justice League Dark. And they've got the Matt Wagner series complete on there. Like some interesting obscure stuff that isn't being reprinted at the minute. So that's the other option if they're not collecting these stories in print.
That's cool. That's really cool. Yeah, I haven't checked it out at all, but it's good to know what your options are when you want to dig into some comics that aren't available, because a lot of the things we mentioned, you can't. It'd be hard to find unless you go into a back bin.
Yeah,
right? So
yeah, and that's the thing. I think they are constantly expanding it. So Meat Trunks just asked a question as well. Is the Vertigo stuff only for Ultimate? You can get the Vertigo stuff no matter what. So I just have the standard, at the moment, and you can go in and you can find Vertigo books. So I don't think it's necessarily age controlled. I don't think you can get stuff like Preacher, and maybe that kind of thing would be on Ultra. So that that might be how they've worked it. I'd have to double check, but it's a good question. Yeah. So Reach said some Vertigo stuff is only. Is it called Ultimate? I thought it was Infinite. Have I been calling it the wrong thing? Sorry. I'm not sure. It's either Infinite or Ultimate, but yeah, it's the upper tier.
The app.
The app.
Okay, I see. I see.
The upper tier stuff is called Ultra or Infinite or Ultimate. No, I can't remember. But yeah,
cool. Yeah, I gotta check it out. It's a good. It's always good to know different ways to get your hands on something to read.
Yes.
Oh, okay. I saw your eyes go up. I said, "Oh, what?"
Sorry,
no, that's okay. That's okay.
I'm just reading comments, but I'm gonna have to not.
No, that's okay. Read the comments. Hi, everybody commenting. Thank you for commenting.
Reed says that Lee Reed says the complete series of Starman is behind the paywall, for example. Though I thought that might be the collector editions, whereas I've read Starman on the app. So, but I'm not sure. But there is a lot of stuff on there. But we can find out more information for next time if that's something people want to know more about.
Yes.
There we go.
Did anybody listening have a omnibus that they would like to see put in print?
I meant to say this at the beginning. If people would like to make any suggestions for an omnibus you'd like to see in print, please do. But yeah, if not, don't worry. We can always tack it. We can edit it in afterwards.
That's right.
We're just getting used to this still. It's only been weeks.
Hey, we're doing just fine. Thank you, everybody who was watching on the live. We appreciate that. Thank you, everybody who's listening to the podcast. We appreciate that as well. Check out the YouTube channel if you're listening on Spotify or Apple, iTunes. Is it Apple Podcasts?
Yeah.
Too many stuff.
If you jump on the website or on the link tree, you can actually see all the different podcasts you can listen to us on. So yeah, that's one way to do it if you want to find your preferred podcast place.
Yes. P.S. in the postscript here. Me Trunks says Guy Gardner Warrior Omnibus.
Yes.
I think you had mentioned that as well.
I did last time, yeah, and I was going to do it on properly this time, but I really want to read Guy Gardner Warrior. It looks so horrifically cheesy, and I don't care. I think people have a real soft spot for it.
Why not? Yeah. Have fun. Yeah. Have fun. It's comics. Enjoy it. Rate and review the show, everybody that's listening on Apple Podcasts, Spotify. Leave us a review. Check out the website, omniversecomics.guide. Dave's reading lists are incredible. We got reviews now. Great website for anybody who wants to figure out what to read. Come to the Omniverse. We're here for you. Dave, I bid you adieu. Until next time, thank you, everybody, for listening. We'll be back soon.
Thanks a lot, everyone.